Like the video and subscribe right now, or this doggo will drink all your vodka. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What is a life hack that seems fake, but is a true lifesaver? Every male should know this. If you want to get rid of an awkward boner, flex any muscle in your body, maybe an arm. For a minute. The blood will rush to that muscle and away from your dick. Crisis averted. Don't be that awkward dude trying to hide an erection in public. Confidently rock a raging boner while flexing those guns for all the world to see. I don't know what's worse, holding down my boner, or awkwardly standing there flexing both biceps, with my boner trying to rip a hole in my sweats. Put your onion in the freezer for 10 minutes before chopping it. It freezes the juices just enough to slow down the process of it turning into a gas, giving you a few minutes to chop the onion without tears. I learned this tip from a kids science show years ago and I haven't had to deal with onion tears since. So many people don't believe me, and then are genuinely surprised when it works. I've been a chef for over 15 years. This is good advice. Best advice is using a sharp knife. They slice through the cell walls instead of crushing them. Also, a very sharp knife and slicing motion helps. Bruising onions will ruin your day. And to really step up your game, run the blade under running water every so often, and that prevents onions from fighting back. If you stand up too fast, and your head starts to spin, rush, blackout, tighten your abs as hard as you can, and it'll help drastically reduce the head rush. You can also do it preemptively to help stop it before it even happens. Bold of you to assume I have abs. What I do, that helps instantly, is bending over, so that your head is upside down. It immediately stops the dizziness, and your vision comes back in a matter of seconds. Instructions unclear. Got weird looks on the subway. Thank you. I have seizures as a result of serious head rushes after standing up. I will try this maybe before I stand up, or if I feel slightly woozy. Thanks again. Also, maybe try iron tablets as a supplement. Dizziness from standing up quickly is often caused by a minor iron deficiency. Of course, you could also eat more food that has a high content of iron. But if a new dietary plan is a bit much, try the tablets for a few weeks. Splash some water your face. As a mammal, you have a diving instinct, so water on your face triggers a response. You wake up, there's more oxygen to your brain, you feel better, plus your face is wet. My deceased grandmother told me to do this every morning. Now I know the science behind it. I will try to be more diligent in doing it. Cheers. I do this driving long distances. I keep a wash rag and a bottle of water on standby. Better than a loud radio or the windows down. If you get food grease stains on your clothes, cover the stain with dishwashing liquid. The stain will come off when you wash your clothes. Always double check the stain is gone before sticking it in the dryer too. The heat will set the stain in even more. I love using dish soap for laundry stains. I even keep a tiny bottle in my laundry room. Okay, I know this probably isn't the place for this, and I apologize if this comes off as uncomfortable. But I have to ask, is this tip true for seamen as well? When it is icy, or going through somewhere wet, always have both hands free to break any fall. When working with a job you know has safety hazard, always be on the lookout. My co-worker broke her wrist because someone forgot to put the pallet in the correction location. Sometimes people are out to get you, or maybe not even thinking of you, or your safety, so always got to have your own back. This also applies to going up, going downstairs. Never have both hands in your pockets. True, I was walking with a stick over my shoulder, and resting both my hands over it. Tripped on a very small tree stump, and landed face first on the ground, because I couldn't bring my hands forward to break my fall. I was fine, but ouch, my nose. Use whitening toothpaste, and a little water with a paper towel to clean stained dry erase boards. It easily removes ink, and doesn't spread it around like rubbing alcohol. Works on boards that have been stained for years. Also, if you accidentally use permanent marker on a whiteboard, with all done in, you can use whiteboard pen to it. Once the permanent marker is dry, draw over it with a whiteboard pen, let that dry and wipe off. Or hairspray. Just get a cheap one from the dollar store, and spray it on the whiteboard and it'll wipe away easily. True lifesaver. If you are ever attacked by a dog, push your forearm into the bite. This pries the jaws apart and prevents them from clamping down. If a dog is attacking you, the best thing you can do is offer your forearm, push as far back as possible, and then grab the dog by the scruff of its neck with your other hand to hold it. The dog is now functionally muzzled and you have control of its head. The sooner and harder you push into the bite, the less damage the bite will do. This is a good rule for human bites too, just so you know. Push and don't pull. This is also what you do when your teething baby chomps down on you when breastfeeding. Mush them into your boob. Not yell and drop the baby. Though it's hard to remember that in the heat of the moment. Yikes, wish I knew that many years ago. My son used to turn his head quickly to look at something while he was feeding. Makes me clutch my boobs just thinking about it. Ouch. I read this in an encyclopedia. Works for anacondas too, and, since their teeth are curved inwards, pulling out will only do more damage, although I'm sure anyone close enough to anacondas to be affected by their bites won't already know this. If an anaconda is biting you, you shouldn't be worried about the teeth. They are constrictors, and under those scales is a tube of organs and a lot of muscle. They won't really be able to eat you, but they can constrict you to death. Every time you exhale they will tighten their coils until your diaphragm isn't able to expand. I have no clue what you should actually do to fight back other than try to keep your arms free and do damage to its size if you can. Just spray yourself with Windex and slip out. I work with kids with mental disabilities, and this was one of the first things they taught us to do. If a kid starts biting you, push instead of pulling away. It's safer for both parties. Can say from experience though that it's really difficult to fight the urge to just yank your arm away. Yeah, a lot of people are going to panic in the moment and be unable to follow through. I also work with children on the spectrum. The first time I got bit I literally just paused a second remembering not to pull back, but it took me a moment to remember what to do. So here I am a week into my new job. This kid is biting my arm and I'm just standing there pondering how to get out of it. I remembered pretty quick but there was a moment when I was just letting this child clamp onto my arm while I searched my memory for what to do. If dog attacks other person, approach from behind, grab its ankles, lift up and keep slowly walking backwards. Keep doing it until you can back into door or other obstacle to protect you. Dog is helpless meanwhile. Do not let go of legs before you have exit strategy. Source: wheelbarrowed a huge ass Rottweiler, saving my GF and her puppy. It works. If you go into the way back of World War II as training materials they taught this. They also taught that dogs have limited upward mobility in their necks. The combination of forcing the arm into the bite and wrapping the other arm around the back of the neck like a chokehold results in enough leverage to either break the dog's neck or cause it enough pain to force a release. The more you know. Finger sparkles. If your ring gets stuck on your finger, Windex will slide it right off. Worked at a jewelry store for 5+ years. You can also use any oil, cooking, automotive, anything. You can also reduce the size of your hand and finger by holding it up in the air. Chilling your hand in cold water then holding it up in the air for a couple minutes whilst rubbing oil and or dishwashing fluids in there. Trifecta of ring removal. Should work on anyone that just stole Soren's prize, though biting it off also works, I suppose. Can confirm, fellow former jewelry store worker here. That shit will get some seriously impossible looking rings off. Also pro tip, if you have a ring stuck on your finger, and it's a precious metal and needs to be cut off, and you're not in immediate medical danger yet, see if you can save yourself a few $100s and a hospital trip and see if your local jeweler will do it. Almost all of them possess the specific tools to safely do it, and will unless it is too swollen. Another pro tip. If a ring has a hard time going on, just stop. It will be even harder to take it off. I have a ring I can barely take off without lubricants. It's steel and I rarely take it off so whatever, but it still slides on pretty easily. Every time a customer was forcing a ring on, we had to get the soap. Did you ever need to cut a ring off a customer? Definitely doesn't always work. Especially if the finger is swollen from the initial desperate attempts to get it off. Wanted to say this. I got a ring stuck on my finger for nearly 3 full days. I ended up needing to have the ring cut. I tried all the cooking oils we had, butter, dish soap, hand soap, ice, soaking my hand. I even tried that horrible thread trick. It was frustrating because that ring had never not fit me before. Just one day I couldn't take it off. I think it became a catch-22 that every time I tried to take it off, my finger became more irritated and it was even more difficult to remove. If you get a splinter that is still partially sticking out of the skin, put a drop of Elmer's glue on it and let it dry. When you peel the dried glue off your finger, the splinter will be stuck on the glue and pop right off with it. Also, if you get a splinter so embedded in the flesh that you can't find it, put some water remover on it. This takes several days, but it works. Eventually, you'll find the splinter. I had a 3-inch splinter in my palm. I went to the emergency room and they x-rayed it, but then told me that wood doesn't show up on an x-ray. So they referred me to a hand surgeon who didn't want to operate, because you have too many nerves in the palm of your hand. It was very painful. So my mother told me to put water remover where I think it went in. I did this for about a week and lo and behold it peeled the skin off, and I finally found the splinter. It was over 3 inches long. That rubbing alcohol removes chewing gum. I'd go through a 20-layer deep marketing funnel to get to that tip because it really does work. Also wow. Thank you for all of the awards, nice Redditors. I completely forgot I left this comment and came back and my notifications had blown up. Rubbing alcohol works to get paint off clothes also. Rubbing alcohol removes most adhesives. Alcohol also gets out ink. Also good for marijuana resin. It also cleans any kind of smoking paraphernalia better than anything else. 90% isopropyl and a little bit of effort will have you smoking out of like new glass in no time. Also removes sap from your hands remarkably well. Congratulations for making it till the end. Please smash that like and subscribe button for 1 million years of good lucks.